Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number 203. So for those people who don't watch my channel, we're doing reruns. So we're on our second bout of reruns. So we did 100 weeks, then we did another 100 weeks rerun in the first 100, and then we did just a block of 10 which were kind of completely new projects, but I'm not including them in the count up. Just so that we stick with nice round numbers. So we're up to week 203, and what are we making this week? We are making Matchbox books for our junk journals. So yep, Matchbox books for our junk journals. The reason I said it twice is because normally I really struggle to say it, so I couldn't believe my luck. It just rolled off my tongue like as if just, yeah, it's never any problem. So what you're going to need if you want to make along. I have brought along a selection of papers. Now mine are all printables, and I know I say this every week. I've bought printables because that's what I predominantly have. You do not need to bring printables. You can bring whatever paper you like. You could bring book page, scrapbook paper, you know, plain paper if you want. I know that in the very first round of these, I did make a couple with just coffee dyed paper. So, you know, you can just use plain paper if you want to. Now my paper, I've got A4 paper here. And I've got two different thicknesses. So I've got a few which are, they're not copy paper, but they're 110 GSM. Normal copy paper is about 70 to 80. This is 110. So it's kind of, you know, quite a bit thicker. So that's the first paper type that I've got. The next paper type that I've got, this is 230 GSM. So it's substantially thicker. And all of these are, like I say, printed, you know, single-sided, but I have coffee dyed the backs of all of these. Now, the reason I've coffee dyed the backs is because you're going to see the inside. So again, might not bother you if you see the inside and it's plain white, but if it does, you might want to spend the time coffee dyeing beforehand. So that's the paper. I have also bought the paper that we used last week, just the offcuts and the leftovers from last week, because I might be able to make some from this. So, you know, that's just kind of like, use up paper. You're going to need some glue. Now, if you don't want to use glue, you could always use double-sided tape. You could use a stapler. I'm going to use glue, and I always use the Anita's tacky glue for kind of paper pieces. So that's what I'm going to be using. Now, I've got my scissors. You may want to use your scissors, or you may want to use a scoreboard and a paper trimmer, up to you completely. I personally, you know, don't really get on very well with a paper trimmer, so I stick with my scissors. Again, I'm going to use my scissor handles for, you know, pressing down. If you don't want to do that, you could use a bone folder, you know, to press your bits down, up to you. I'm going to probably just use my scissor handles. You may want to have some ink. Again, I've got distress ink here. This is walnut stain. I switch kind of between walnut stain and vintage photo, just really whichever one I grab first. So you may want to have your blendy tool and some distress ink. And then depending on whether you like to leave your pieces plain till you come to use them, or whether you want to decorate, you may want to have some bits on hand to decorate with. So that's kind of pretty much all that we're going to be needing. So yep, let's get on and make a couple of these. So I'm going to first of all use a couple of the pages that we have got left over from last week, just because, you know, it's here, I might as well use it. So obviously last week we made the flip downs, so I had also inked, not inked, coffee dyed the insides of these. So they're all ready to go. So this one here is half an A4 sheet, so it's an A5 piece of paper. So I'm going to start by just literally folding up the bottom. Now I have noticed that for some reason, when I first started making these, I had a really good size fold. And over the years, sometimes I just have the most skinny little fold on the planet. And to be honest, it makes it really, really hard to make them. So, you know, I'm going to try and make a bit of a, you know, chunkier kind of fold at the bottom, because sometimes these days I end up making it so tiny, I can barely get a run of glue, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. So that's your bit that your piece is going to be tucked into. And then all you're doing is folding your flap down to your fold point. Now your flap is going to be tucked, oops, I'm not sure which way my paper edge is. Right, hold on, sorry, I'm not making a very good job of doing this very straight. it's because I obviously folded into the non-straight edge of the paper. So let's try and fold into the straight edge. So if I fold in, oh no, it's still not straight. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh, perhaps, oh, I don't know. Perhaps that was the wonky edge. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, I mean, so long as my piece is straightish, then I can trim it down and, you know, we'll adjust it in a moment. So fold your flap down like that. Now, what I tend to do is fold it to, I mean, approximately halfway on my folded edge. So this is actually just slightly less, but you can see what I'm saying, because that's going to tuck in there and that's how it's going to close. Okay, so I'm going to trim mine down on this edge, only because it's not very straight. So hopefully I've got a slightly straighter looking bit now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open our flap like that, and you're going to run some glue, or of course your, you know, double-sided tape if it will fit, or you could just staple this with, you know, a couple of staples or 3 staples, or, you know, I mean, actually you could probably even just use your sewing machine. I have done that in the past. What you want to do is just be careful that you're going to have enough room to tuck this in. So if I'm gluing, I like to put my folded flap down like that, and that shows me exactly where my glue can go up to. So like that. Okay, now when you press this down to fold it, you know, to glue it, just be careful because your glue may spread onto this piece. And again, I've done that numerous times, and then I've had a problem unsticking my piece from out of the flap. So it's just kind of little things to be aware of that over the time I've been aware of it, and still to this day just do it numerous times, and it's really, really, really annoying. So I'm just going to bring my flap out straight away now so as it doesn't get glued in there. Just running my finger along. Already I can feel a little bit of glue on here. So, you know, I was in danger of doing that even today, even though that glue wasn't really that close. It straight away was going right up there. Okay, so that's your little flap. And this just then tucks in like that. And that's how it opens and closes, like I say. So it's just a little simple kind of pocket piece for your journals. Now, obviously, when you use this in your journals, up to you. You could glue it on, you know, 3 sides and have it in this way. You could have it sideways, you know, completely up to you. But they're really nice, aren't they? Now, if you find, you know, your flap's a little bit cumbersome, obviously go for a slightly smaller flap. It's completely, again, up to you, you know, how big you want that flap. But like I say, I have noticed that sometimes I've made mine a little bit too small and it just becomes quite fiddly to work with. Now I'm going to just trim my piece down because I think that's a little bit wonky, and that's also a bit irritating to look at when it's looking wonky. So yeah, I think it's still a bit wonky, but obviously not having a very good day with my scissors. Let's just trim it down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm not going to leave it tucked in whilst it's drying, just purely for that reason. I don't want it glued, you know, glued shut. So that's that one. Let's do another one just to kind of again demonstrate. Sorry, that was my shabby chic collection papers that are in my Etsy shop. So I will try and remember to tell you the papers I'm using as we go. So this is from my butterflies collection papers, again in my Etsy shop. So again, it's been coffee dyed on the inside. So we're going to take the bottom, we're going to fold it up. I'll do it slightly less this time. Let me just see which is the cut side and which is the straight side. So I think this is the straight side, although, yeah, I think it is the straight side. So I'm going with the straight side as my guide. Okay, so to just tuck my, or fold my tuck in. Oops. Oh, maybe just ignore that word of advice because I seem to have just been mucking this up. Just judge by eye. If it looks straight, it's probably straight. Okay, and then again, take your flap and you want to fold it down sort of around about halfway into your flap. And again, just kind of turn it up, you know, to face you, and that's where you can judge how straight it looks. And at that point, obviously, if like me, you know, if you've used a cut down piece of paper, you can just trim up your edges kind of now. So I'm just going to go in and just trim mine down like that. And then this side like that. Like that. Oops. Not very good with the trimming today. Oops. So we're just going and, yeah, trim that down. Okay, so we just open it back up. And like I say, open your little flap that's your tuck. Put this one down here so you can see roughly where to put your glue. I mean, that's just kind of good practice, because if you don't put that in, you could end up gluing this down way too far. So, you know, it's just something kind of useful to do, I think. But like I say, I mean, these would work brilliantly well with just staples. They also do work well with, you know, stitching. So it's up to you how you do them. Obviously, I try and keep these mass making as accessible as possible. So wherever possible, I try and use glue, because I know not everybody's got a sewing machine, or not everybody, you know, necessarily likes to use their sewing machine. Okay, and then just again, fold that back out just for the drying process, because already I can feel a little bit of glue there. So, you know, if I hadn't untouched that, when I came to use it, it would have been stuck into my tuck. So that's literally all that we're doing. Now, you can make these any shape or size that, not shape, obviously, but yes, not any shape, but any size that you like. And when I say shape, I'm talking, you know, tall, narrow ones. You could bake, you know, tiny little ones, whatever size paper that you've got. So, for example, I'm going to take this whole sheet here. This is from my damask collection, the rich damask, and we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to make two long, you know, long, slightly narrower ones. And then, to be honest, what we could do is make tiny ones. So we could cut this, for example, in half and make tiny ones, or, you know, we could cut it in half that way and make tiny ones. So we'll just play around and we'll do some different ones, just so it's a bit more kind of interesting for you guys watching. I'm going to do it assembly line style. So for anyone who doesn't watch normally, or, you know, mass make, basically the assembly line style is we're going to do all the stages together. So, for example, we're going to cut all of our papers down. We're going to do all the folds. We're going to do all the gluing of the flaps, all in, you know, same stages. And that way, hopefully, we're going to be really efficient and get a ton of these made. So, just going to take this and just fold this in to get my basic sheet of paper. So, I like to just fold it in and then cut along the fold. I find that the easiest way to get a roughly straight line. Again, like we said, or like we just saw, it doesn't have to be dead straight, because you can always trim these up afterwards, you know, so long as it's, you know, quite straight, that will do. I'm just going to cut this off because my printer's not quite printed borderless, and that's it. So I'm going to possibly cut down a couple more sheets of paper into, you know, different sizes before we get doing our cut-in. So this one also from my rich damask. So perhaps we'll do this, making a couple of very skinny, teeny ones. So let's take that one, squish that down like that. Okay, so then I'm not going to really talk you through. I mean, obviously, I will kind of mention it if I do anything particularly different. But on the whole, you know, I'm just going to go along doing this whole assembly line style making, and we'll just relax and have a nice time and have a catch up, really. So yeah, just have a nice good hour hanging out together, really. So yeah, I'm filming this on Monday, ready for you guys to go up on the Tuesday. Have to say it's quite late in the day for me. I normally try and film these first thing in the morning. Again, I had a few things that I was doing straight away this morning, which just meant that I'm a little bit late in, you know, getting sort of sat down at my desk. So I'm going to keep these kind of as they are in these sizes. So I'm just going to take some of my other fresh papers and then maybe cut some more down to do another couple of long ones. So just do that. Yeah, so I had a few things that I had to do this morning. So I just, you know, a bit late coming to the desk. So it's, I think it's nearly 1 o'clock. So yeah, it's kind of nearly lunchtime. Or around about lunchtime. So a little bit on the late side. It's such a gorgeous day today. It's really nice and sunny. It's it's quite cold, not too cold, I have to say. I mean, very mild, in fact, for this time of year. We've had a cold snap recently, the last few days. It was really cold. One day I went to the gym and I think it was -3, so it was, yeah, pretty cold. And to be honest, I mean, that's probably more realistic for this time of year, isn't it? But obviously, you know, we seem to have been very lucky and had quite a mild winter this winter. So to be honest, although that is typical for this time of year, I'm just not used to it. And so I really struggled last week when it was -3. It was like, oh my goodness, this is so cold. I just couldn't warm up for the whole day. And this morning, I actually forgot to look at my temperature gauge when I went to the gym, but it felt really, you know, really mild. And actually, I mean, I could tell because, you know, I proper worked up a sweat in the gym. And, you know, I think I said this recently, I don't really do any cardio anymore. I'm doing just like the, you know, the weights machines. When I say that, I mean, I'm using that term very loosely. I just go on the same handful of machines every single time and I hardly lift anything. I'm very, very pathetic, you know, super weak. So yeah, I don't really kind of like push myself. But yeah, I actually built up a bit of a sweat. So I don't think it was my hard work. I think it was genuinely, you know, much, much, much warmer than it has been, because I was wearing like my sweat top and, you know, didn't kind of even have to take my top off last week at all, you know, and in fact was still freezing even with my sweatshirt on, you know, as well as my gym top underneath. But yeah, today, well, actually I did still keep my sweatshirt on, but I was pretty hot. So yeah, it was better, to be honest, because who wants to be in there, you know, freezing and then come home freezing? It's rubbish, isn't it? So yeah, it was better. So I'll just take this down. This is from my perfume collection, the bright coloured ones of background papers. So, and I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who bought any of my perfume bottles and things on my launch video yesterday. So for you guys, Sunday. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you all have such a fantastic time using them. Honestly, I've used them for a few different things now, those perfume bottles and things, and the papers, and they're so lovely to use. You know, I'm quite a girly girl, and yeah, they're just very lovely papers and very lovely you know, pieces to use. So yeah, if you bought them, I really hope that you're going to enjoy using them as much as I've been enjoying them. So I do have another video with another thing that I made using them, so that will come up soon. But yeah, I haven't actually got around to uploading it yet. But yeah, thank you so much, and like I say, I hope that you're having a lovely time using them. Right, okay, let's just see what else. Oh, I've got my documents collection. So yeah, let's take this pink in half like that. Okay, so what have I been up to? Well, I have to say, not a lot. So I've just been working, being so super boring. I mean, it's that time of year, isn't it? You know, got no money, it's just after Christmas. You know, 2 of my children have birthdays just after Christmas, so that's a bit unfortunate. All the bills are coming in, and yeah, just, you know, so I've been avoiding going out, if I'm truthful. You know, avoiding even going out of the house if I can help it, because going out the house just, you know, leads to buying things. You know, you pop into a shop needing a pint of milk, and then it's like, before you know it, you know, that £2 has turned into £12. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to avoid going to the shops at all. But yeah, so I haven't really been anywhere. Yesterday was a sausage dog walk, which didn't even go on that, would you believe, because nobody wanted to go. So yeah, everyone was really lazy and didn't really want to go. So I also, you know, chose to be lazy and not go either. So yeah, very oh, boring. Yeah, I don't know, just it's that time of year. I mean, I think last Monday was that Monday of the year that they call that Blue Monday. You know, the one where everyone feels really miserable, like, you know, because it's kind of gone into January, nobody's got any money and all of that kind of stuff. I think that was last Monday, which, you know, that figures, doesn't it, to be honest? You know, that would make sense that it was last Monday. So, yeah. So I hope that all of you guys are doing okay and holding out okay, you know, despite the Blue Monday last week. I mean, I'm assuming that Blue Monday, obviously, I mean, it wouldn't just be over in one day, would it? I mean, that's going to kind of like be Blue Monday, you know, maybe slightly better by the Tuesday, slightly better still maybe by the Wednesday. But, you know, you're not going to just have Blue Monday and then by Tuesday feel fine, are you? You're going to feel a bit glum probably for the whole week. So, or, you know, maybe a couple of weeks. So, yeah, this is my Claridge's papers, by the way, and this was my documents collection. I'm so sorry. When I come to fold them, I will mention the papers that I used, because I realised that I've gone on waffling and not really been remembering to say what papers I've been using. So I do apologise for that. I haven't even been to the cinema. Right, now, have got all these other papers, but I think probably I'm being over ambitious. So, I mean, they do come together very quickly, so I don't think they're going to take us very long to make, but I can't actually see my clock to see how long I've been filming for, but yeah, I'd best kind of be a little bit mindful. So this is the Claridge's papers. Like I say, I will try and mention now which papers I'm using. So now these also, like I say, you can use these any way that you like. So, you know, upways, sideways, you could even tuck them this way. I mean, obviously this is a directional paper, but if it wasn't, you could have them in your journal going downwards like that. That's rather nice. Obviously bad example because the paper is directional, but you know, definitely there's multiple ways that you can use these, which I think is rather fun. So there we go. Okey-dokey. So I'm just going to fold them all up, and then, you know, if we've got trimming and things to do, we'll do the trimming, and then we'll do the gluing of the flaps down. So we'll just kind of do it like that, I think. So yeah, I haven't even been to the cinema. Trying to think what I've been doing. So on Saturday night, you know, my daughter had a little sleepover. So Natalie's son, he came and stayed over at my house, you know, and him and my daughter obviously hung out together, and, you know, yeah, had a nice time. So he's got this VR headset thing. I've never really seen one of those in the flesh. I mean, obviously I've seen them on TV. I didn't really know whether they were actually a thing, if I'm truthful. I thought perhaps they were still in development stages, but anyway, they obviously are. They obviously are a thing now. So he got one for Christmas, and yeah. Anyway, I'd never really seen a child using them. I mean, I can see why they would be very fun. It looked like they were having a great time. I mean, it looked so funny to see them because, you know, my daughter obviously had a go, you know, a few goes with it. But, I mean, obviously it's a bit weird because then the other person's not really kind of playing. Although, they can play on their phone or, you know, on a kind of device, even if they've not got a headset. I don't know whether that means that they can talk or, you know, whether they can't talk. I don't know. I just don't know. But, yeah, anyway, they had a nice time kind of playing it. Now, you do want to be a little bit mindful when you're folding that if they're directional papers, you know, don't fold where your prints are going to be upside down, for example, like, yeah, like that. That's going to be upside down. So just make sure that you're folding the right way so that you've got your directional papers going, you know, the right way up like that. So, and obviously that one's one of the smaller ones. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, actually, I've got to be honest, I almost prefer the small ones to the big ones. So they're very, very lovely, aren't they? Okay, like that. And I've been forgetting, haven't I, to be talking you through the papers. I don't think I've used any others other than the documents and the Claridge's. This one, as I say, is the perfume, the Brights perfume papers. I did watch a like box set thing the other day. It was on ITVX, which again, that's a UK thing. I think it's available on BritBox. I've heard, you know, I've had people comment and say that they can watch it on BritBox. So it should be. Anyway, it was called Too Close. It was a drama. It was really good, I have to say. It was quite sort of shocking. Yeah, it was quite a shocking one, but it was, you know, it was really good. So I would recommend that. Too Close, it's called, on ITVX. So, and I mean, I obviously really liked it because I binge watched that. Like, yeah, I started it one evening and then I finished it at the gym the next day because I was really kind of like horrified and, you know, wanting to see what was going on in the drama. So, yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. I think that's pretty much all that I've watched, really. I don't feel like I've watched anything else, you know, worthy of mentioning. I mean, I'm sure I have, but just rubbish, really. Kind of like, you know, flicking through the channels type behaviour, which is never really very good, is it? Yeah, not really. I cooked a lasagna the other night, which, I mean, I know that's no big thing, is it? But honestly, my cooking's become so abysmal. I just never ever cook. So, for, you know, something proper, I mean. So for me, that was like, wow, check me out. So I've cooked a lasagna. Yeah, I know compared to normal people, that's probably not really worth mentioning. But anyway, it felt like, wow, I've actually cooked a lasagna. I mean, to be honest, why I thought that was even real, you know, real cooking, I don't know, because I used obviously a jar of the tomato sauce. I used a jar of the white sauce, you know, the pasta sheets, lasagna sheets, they're all ready. So, I mean, even that, to be honest, it's questionable how much real cooking went on. But anyway, it felt like real cooking. And it's one of those meals, it always seems very faffy, you know, kind of very, oh, a lasagna, what, you want a lasagna, ugh, you know. But actually it really is not very, you know, faffy to make at all, is it? And it's pretty quick to make. So yeah, it was actually was surprisingly good, you know, and I was surprisingly like, wow, check out how quickly that was made. So yeah, I felt like my cooking skills had really improved just because I'd managed to make lasagna. This is my clocks collection papers. So in fact, I'll just make one from each of these, so I'm not just being really boring again, using the same stuff. So this also is the clocks collection papers. So squish that in. Okay. Honestly, I mean, the year's flying by already, isn't it? I mean, you know, next week we'll have got through the whole of January already. I mean, there's that time gone. It's very strange. I was in the car the other day and, oh, I mean, I don't really know how to put kind of, you know, get my iPad onto like the Bluetooth, but just sometimes it just seems to connect there. Normally I have to get my son to kind of do it. Anyway, am I the only person who has this happen? Let me know below. For some reason, every time like my iPad comes on, or my phone, or actually even, you know, my ex-husband, his phone used to do this as well, that if it goes to music, it's always Christmas songs. Does that happen to anybody else? Because I mean, it can't just be me and my ex-husband who that happened to, surely. If that happens to you, let me know if you know how to stop that being the case, because why on earth does it always default to Christmas songs? I've no idea. I mean, not that I don't like Christmas songs, but it's almost like really embarrassing, because sometimes, you know, you might have someone in the car with you or something and suddenly Christmas songs blare out, you know, and it's like, what's going on there? It's really, really, really weird. Does anybody else have that? If you do, do you know why that happens? You know, like what happens with the Christmas songs? Do they like override all other music, or I don't know. It's really, really, really peculiar. But yeah, anyway, that's always happening. So where I was going with that story, so this is my butterflies collection papers again. So where I was going with that story was that, sorry, just checking which way around I want this. So yeah, very strange. But where I was going with that was So the Christmas songs came on, and, you know, because I'm always just like in a world of my own, you know, not really paying much attention, the song was playing for a few seconds / minutes, you know, before I even realised it was Christmas songs. I was, you know, it was just me in the car, and then I thought, oh, it's those Christmas songs again, you know, and obviously turned them off. But it was so strange because it suddenly felt more Christmassy than it had felt at Christmas. What's that about? It was so weird. I thought, well, this is really strange, because the whole lead up to Christmas, it didn't feel Christmassy at all. And now here we are in January, I'm listening to Christmas songs, and it actually feels, you know, more Christmassy than it had at Christmas, which was really, really odd. I don't know whether that's because it was suddenly colder. And, you know, actually now I'm thinking about it, maybe that is what it was because it was pretty cold outside. It was dark, so it was cold, it was dark, you know, and it perhaps just felt, you know, quite Christmassy. I don't know. Whereas the whole lead up to Christmas, to be honest, we had all that just terrible rainy weather. This was the Rich Damask papers, and these are also the Rich Damask, so I'll do this one in a moment. Yeah, in the whole run up to Christmas, it was actually just all that wet weather. So it could be where it was cold, to be honest, but it was very strange. I thought, well, this is really weird. It suddenly feels more Christmassy than it did a month ago in the lead up to Christmas, which, weird. Very, very, very weird. Right, Bo is asleep in my bed at the moment, so yeah. So yeah, I was downstairs obviously doing some things on my laptop this morning, so she's been downstairs, you know, sat cuddled up at my feet whilst I was doing things on the laptop. And then when we came upstairs, you know, for me to obviously do my video, I did call her in. She's got a little bed here beside my desk, but she was having none of it. She was like, nope, I'm going back to bed. So fair enough, who can blame her? So yeah, she's gone back to bed now. It's so funny. I've got a throw, you know, over my bed, and she normally just goes under the throw, but for some reason today she went to the pillows and she kind of nudged the pillows out of the way and actually went under the duvet. So yeah, I don't know why she did that today, where she normally goes under the throw, but you know, she's made the bed look a mess, but you know, I'll let her off. It's all fine. Oh, you can't stay cross at a dog, can you? Well, not that I felt cross. I just thought, oh, check her out. She's, you know, she's not wanting to go under the throw today. But yeah, even when she, you know, goes to the toilet indoors or anything like that, I just can't really get mad at her, to be honest. Pathetic, I know, but... And I do realise that you should, you know, because you're never going to actually discipline the dogs and teach them if you don't. But I don't want to kind of like upset her. You know, if you do tell her off. So on the odd occasion when I've thought, oh, this is ridiculous, I must start telling her off. I mean, not that she especially goes to the toilet in the house, I have to say. You know, when she does, it tends to be user error, i.e., you know, one of us hasn't, like, you know, been on the ball and put her out enough during the day. So it's generally, I would say, not really even her fault. But just once or twice she's done it. I mean, actually, I have to say once or twice she's done it right in front of us, like literally right in front of our faces. I don't know what that's about, whether she's kind of copped one, maybe. You know, if I kind of look back, I suspect maybe we've been out or something, you know, the day before, or, you know, like something like that, and left her in for a couple of hours, or, you know, a few hours or something, and so she's punishing us. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably some actual reason for it. But, you know, she's literally kind of like looked us in the face and done it right in front of us, which just seems really naughty. So, of course, I have had to tell her off then. But she then looks so, you know, mortified that you're telling her off. And she kind of like slinks away, or slunks away. And it makes me feel so bad that then I obviously have to go, you know, straight back to her saying, oh, love you, you know. I mean, ridiculous. Clearly not really teaching her anything, am I? But, you know. But yeah, luckily I hardly ever have had to tell her off. So, oh, my glue has been resting on my hot glue gun just because I was, you know, paranoid about it clogging back up. So it's been leaking out there. But anyway, at least now it's really free flowing because it's been there on the heat. So, and this is my Shabby Chic collection papers. So we'll just go in and glue this down. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I have to say, last night it was really kind of stormy, and it was blowing a gale and really raining and just awful. But weirdly enough, so I'd been watching TV and I didn't know that. You know, I could hear the wind, I could hear the wind, but I couldn't hear it raining. So anyway, I, got up when we were going to go upstairs to bed, and got up to obviously put Bo out in the garden. So I opened the door, the back door, and she stepped outside before she obviously paid any attention and took it in either. And she was obviously horrified because it was pouring with rain, blowing a gale, I mean, rightly so, because you would be horrified, wouldn't you, if you had to go out in those weather conditions to go to the toilet. Yeah, so she just went out, kind of stood there, looked at me. I'd obviously shut the door because, I just thought, oh gosh, she's going to just try and come straight back in. So I'd shut the door to, try and make her be out there going to the toilet. Anyway, she just turned straight back round and just started crying, and kind of scratching at the door to come back in. And again, being that soft touch, that I am, of course, I just let her back in because I just thought, oh, bless her, of course she doesn't want to go to the toilet. Look at those horrible weather conditions. So, yeah, I just felt like I couldn't really be mean. I had to let her back in. So I did. And then we just went upstairs. She slept in my bed overnight. And, I mean, in fairness to her, she didn't go to the toilet, until this morning when I let her out. So, she obviously didn't really need it last night. I don't know whether she needed it at all, but if she did, she did hang on. But yeah, I mean, I suspect even if she had needed it, she would not have been wanting to go in that weather. And it was so noisy. So I then went upstairs, to the bedroom, and I was taking my makeup off. Oh, which reminds me, I will tell you an update about my eyes in a minute. But yeah, went back upstairs, to the bedroom, and I was taking my makeup off. Oh my goodness, it was so ferocious out there. Literally, like, wow, really windy. Like, really terrible. So, yeah, not good. I can see why she didn't want to go out. So, my eyes. Now, again, if you watch my channel, you may or may not have heard me talking about my eyes before Christmas. So, in the run-up to Christmas for a few weeks, I had this allergic reaction to something with my eyes. And, of course, I then was making it worse and worse because I was trying to do everything and anything to try and get rid of this, this allergic reaction. Because, I mean, at one point, my whole sort of skin around my eyes, it had, like, gone purple. I mean, I looked like I've been, in a fight and been given a black eye. It was so terrible. So, of course, the skin also all shriveled up. It went like a burn. And they were very sore. So I had to, stop wearing makeup, which I know I talked about this on the video. That was horrifying for me, and I'm sure like lots of you ladies, you probably look gorgeous and don't really have to wear makeup, Unfortunately, I wouldn't feel confident not wearing makeup, and I wear makeup every single day. Even if I'm not going out of the house, I would still put my makeup on. So anyway, I had to go like, a couple of weeks without makeup. And, I just felt horrible. I mean, I don't wear makeup to the gym, obviously, when I go there because it's, I get up at 5:30 and I go there at 6. So, I mean, it's not that I can't go out without makeup, but, I wouldn't go kind of like generally around without wearing makeup. So anyway, I stopped wearing makeup and, it just kept coming back. So as soon as I started doing the slightest thing, it would come back. So, of course, then I was, I think, making it even worse because I was trying all different things. So I was like putting different cream on it and, using different eye makeup remover and all these weird things, which then, I'm not saying I was making it worse, but it was making it impossible then to find out what had actually caused the problem in the first place. And then the thing that I did keep doing was I just thought, you know, I was convinced it was maybe my wet wipes that I was using to take my makeup off, or, you know, then I was convinced it was the makeup itself, or then I was convinced it was the, you know, eye makeup remover that I was using with the wipes. So do you know what I started doing? I started just kind of like taking it off with water and the towel. So I was doing that. And I am so sorry, I had forgotten to update everybody on this. And I'd had so many lovely ladies advising me and saying, oh, you know, perhaps you should try this, or, you know, perhaps it's the mascara and things like this. And I did read your comments. So, yeah, I just want you to know, I mean, obviously I didn't really have time to comment back to everybody, but I commented back to a few people. But I did read lots of the comments and really appreciate everybody's taking their time to, you know, to message with suggestions. Anyway, it was on Christmas Day, so we were obviously sat at Christmas dinner and, you know, was talking about it, and my family were there. You know, my mum and dad were there, and my sister and her son, and, you know, my kids and things. So we're all there. Anyway, I was talking about it with my mum and saying, you know, I don't know what to do, you know, but my eyes are getting worse and worse, and just, you know, felt horrified. Anyway, my mum said, you know, are you sure it's not your washing powder? So weirdly, I then sort of started thinking about it, and I said, do you know what, actually, I think it could be my washing powder. And the reason being was because a few weeks before Christmas, my son had done the shopping and he'd bought a different washing powder. Now, it was still, you know, non-bio stuff, and to be fair, it was actually a box of washing powder that we have used in the past. It was Supermarket's own brand, but it was still the non-bio, you know. But we've used it before, so it didn't even occur to me that it could be the washing powder. But, you know, like when my mum said it, I thought, I wonder if it could be the washing powder. And to be honest, that would make sense, because what was quite strange was obviously the thing that I started doing, as I just said, was I stopped using anything other than water and the towel. So the fact that I'd stopped using anything but my eyes were not clearing up, of course they weren't, because I was continuing to use the towels which had been washed in the washing powder. So I stopped using that washing powder. I went back to, you know, my normal, I just use the pods normally. Again, just the supermarket owned brand, but the, you know, non-bio pods. So I went back to using those, and lo and behold, my eyes started to clear up. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I grabbed a towel out of the towel cupboard, and I just didn't really give it any thought, because obviously most of the towels have been re-washed now, you know, using the pods. But I guess lower down in the pile, there's one or two towels that haven't been re-washed since the washing powder. And I totally forgot, and I dried my face on, you know, on one of the towels. And sure enough, the next day, my eyes were back to... they weren't back like they were, thank heavens, you know, they were just slightly. But yeah, they had flared up again, you know, looking very red and kind of like sore and, you know, dry skin. So touch wood, I think, you know, I think it was the washing powder. So yeah, I mean, of all the things, and like all these things, I've done that with other things before, where, you know, you're so close to what's kind of going on that it's very hard to then eliminate what it is that's causing something. And, you know, ironically, then you start making it worse, because you're then, you know, you're trying desperately to avoid everything. So you start using, you know, maybe like unusual products, or, you know, I don't know, like in my case, you know, stopped using my usual stuff, and then started doing something unusual, which was obviously just, you know, not using the eye makeup remover at all, but using just water and the towel. And of course, that was then making it worse. So anyway, thank heavens, I did, well, I mean, thankfully, my mum had suggested, you know, well, perhaps it was the washing powder. And yeah, touch wood, it does appear that it was. So anyway, I mean, thank the Lord, because... oh, isn't it horrible when you have like a sort of reaction to something and you can't fathom out for the life of you what's actually causing it? You know, it just drives you potty, doesn't it? Trying to work out, you know, what you're actually doing differently. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody who was lovely and, you know, suggested various different things. But yeah, thankfully my eyes, touch wood, they're all cleared up. Oh, I nearly went to glue these again, but yeah, of course they're the ones that we've done. So we have now obviously completed all of these. Now I did also bring some paper along, and I thought that I would make a couple with the paper. Obviously I haven't, but I will just kind of show you, because you may want to make some of these as paper ones. So I've used the thicker paper, and the reason being is because, you know, if you're tucking these into pockets, or, you know, maybe you like to use paper as your glued down pieces as well. I mean, I tend to use thicker paper for my glued in pieces, but definitely for pieces that are being popped into pockets or paper clipped in or anything, you might want to use the, sorry, I'm just deciding which way I want this going. So yeah, you might decide that you want to use paper for your tucked in pieces or your paper clipped in pieces. So again, I'm just going to do this with the thinner paper just to kind of show you, you know, that they're just as lovely whether they're using the thick paper or the thinner paper. So again, just going to trim that down on the edge like that. Okay, I mean, actually they feel very nice when they're made using the thinner paper. They do feel very nice. So yeah. And again, you know, obviously you could just staple these. So perhaps I'll just staple this one again, just to demonstrate how this would be. So just go in. Let's hope I don't staple this in, you know, too far, and staple it across the piece that's tucking in. There we go. So just to sort of demonstrate, you could do the staples instead. And I mean, then that makes these even quicker to make, to be honest. So, and I quite like the look of the staples. And to be honest, I probably would be putting something like lace or whatever across that little flap anyway. And then in which case you wouldn't even see what was there. So, you know, staples definitely a brilliant option, and, you know, makes them really, really quick to make. So let's count up how many we've done, and then we'll decorate one up. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh my goodness, I mean, that's tons and tons, isn't it? So yeah, really, really thrilled that we made so many. So let's decorate this one up. I don't know, you know, why I've especially chosen this one, but yeah, let's do this one. So as you can see, it tucks in there like that. Obviously, just go back over with your little, you know, bone folder or your scissor handles, just to kind of make sure it's nicely, you know, nicely tucked in like that. Now this, like I say, you could have it this way up. I mean, this one, because it's a non-directional paper, you could even have it upside down. So perhaps this one, we'll do it upside down to kind of give you an idea how that would be. Which, you know, it's just kind of a different take, and, you know, slightly different kind of look, really. So, yeah, we'll start with it like that. Now, let me get some lace, because I think, you know, covering the flap with some lace is rather nice. So, oops, just got this crochet lace, which is just perfect for this, because it's exactly the right size. So I'm just going to glue this with my Anita's tacky glue. Oops. Like that. Okay. So we just press that down. Obviously you don't have to use lace at all, but you know, you might like to. Okay. Like that. Now, I don't know what to put on here. Let's just have a bit of a rummage around and see what I've actually got here that we could use. Now, I'm just wondering whether I've got anything, because I've fussy cut a lot of the perfume things. So I wonder whether I've got any of them that I could just use. Or, oh, actually, I've got these. Oh, they're quite nice, aren't they? These are my bird toppers. So, yeah, let's just take one of these. I was in the middle of fussy cutting these last night, and then... I don't know why I didn't finish them actually, but yeah, anyway, obviously got interrupted and didn't finish them. So, right. Oh my goodness. I mean, doesn't that look gorgeous? So yeah, these are from my toppers. This obviously is the the rich damask. I mean, they look gorgeous, don't they, those colours together? So let's just take some ink and ink that up. So you get these little toppers with, you know, a regular colourway kind of thing, and a green tinged one, and this one with the purple tinge, which, you know, is rather nice, isn't it? So let's put that there. And then I'm thinking, ooh, what am I thinking? Do you think doily or something behind? Ooh, what's this? Let's have a look. I mean, I'm just, you know, grabbing anything that's laying around, to be honest. So, yeah, I would have preferred this coffee dyed, really. But anyway, we'll just ink it up. I think there's probably 2 doilies here. Oh, it feels quite thick. No, it might not be. Sometimes you can blow these to separate them, can't you, the doilies? But no, it's not. Oh, it must be just one thick. That's weird, isn't it? Really feels like it is too. Right, so let's just put some doily down there. Always find doily a little bit tricky to glue down, because obviously you've got all them holes. But yeah, so I'll just put that on like that. Okie dokie. Oops. Oh, come on. Okay, and then this here. Now, just wondering, let me just see whether I've got any of those lovely butterflies. Now, I don't know whether I have or not. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of fussy cutting this weekend. I did quite a bit of work, so I have put quite a few things in my shop on my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk website shop. So do head over and have a look if you fancy having a browse around in there. Got quite a few of the the mystery junk journal packs. I've got quite a few of those. I've got quite a few lace clusters. I've got some envelope sets, some paper clips. Yeah, quite a few different bits and bobs on there. So things that people have requested, and asked to put in there again. So, do go over and have a look if you think you might like anything. Okay. So these are my light butterflies, which I just put in last week at the same time I put the perfume collection papers and the perfume bottles in. So yeah, doesn't that look gorgeous? So I'm just going to glue this down like that. Now you can also put little flippy pads or anything like that in these little Matchbox books, up to you. You can really kind of fill them up or not. I would say just be careful, because sometimes, if you're putting like quite a few pages into your flippy pads, you can just compromise the ability for them to stay closed nicely. So yeah, I mean, my advice would be kind of don't go too many pages really. But yeah, just play around and kind of see what you think. Right, just having a look to see what stuff I've got laying around. Oh, I've got that flower, that's quite nice. I mean, that's just laying there from something else, but will that be in the way? I don't think it will. Let me just glue these petals down, because obviously it's got a bit screwed up, laying around on the desk. So just press the petals down to sort of, make it lay flatter. Oops. Okay. What do we think to that? I'm going to put some little pearly centres that we could use. Yeah, I mean, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? So again, I'm going to just apply the glue directly onto here, only because I don't want to end up, gluing it into the flap that opens. So I just thought, actually, it's probably safer to glue it direct onto the you know, this piece rather than the flower. So, and again, just pop some here like that. Oh my goodness, how pretty does that look? Really, really lovely, isn't it? And then let me just see if I've got any black bling laying around, because if I have, I might put some in the middle of the butterfly. Not necessarily saying it needs it, but you know, I do like using the black bling, so let's just have a look. Yeah, so let's just pop a little bit of that on like that. Oh my goodness, how pretty does that look? Absolutely scrumptious, doesn't it? So like I say, obviously that all then just opens out like that. So if you were putting a flippy pad in, you could either have put it in first before closing this, and you could have it that way, or I probably wouldn't do it this way round, although, you know, maybe I would. But if this were a conventional opening one, I would tend to probably put it here with your pages just running down, that then all of your pages tuck in with your flap. So, you know, it's just something to think about, you know, if you wanted to have a little flippy pad on there as well. So yeah, I really hope that you like them. I mean, they're just really fun, aren't they? And again, they're another one of those things that they're lovely and look very impactful and very kind of what's the word, like a sophisticated pocket. But actually they're super, super, super simple to make. So, you know, I think you get a lot of kind of reward for, you know, for such an easy thing to make, really. So yeah, I hope that you have fun making them. And yeah, I mean, obviously share them on the Facebook group and things once you've made a bunch. And yeah, I hope you will have a fantastic day. I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up. That would be really amazing. Thank you. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. So thanks so much then. Bye.